Max Verstappen is still comfortably in the lead of the Drivers' Championship of the 2024 Formula 1 season. That is about the only positive thing that can be said about the situation at Red Bull. Once upon a time, not so long ago, F1 fans thought Red Bull Racing and Max Verstappen would ease their way into the new regulations in 2026, winning everything. It is abundantly clear that this will not happen now, and Max Verstappen and Red Bull need to find a new approach. I'm Wimbo. Here's 3 seconds to leave a like. Max Verstappen's father, Jos, is one of the most hated men in the F1 paddock. With his grumpy demeanor, the stories of his past, and the lack of will to forget about them, nothing that man says is accepted for what it is. My personal opinion is that Jos always has the interest of his son in mind. He only acts if he believes it's 100% necessary. Now, enough has been said about the power struggle at Red Bull, where Christian Horner, backed by the Thai fraction of Red Bull, is trying to become a shareholder of the whole company. In order to do that, he needed rid of Helmut Marko, who was in a strange position between the two racing teams and the big energy drinks company. When it looked like Helmut Marko was about to be dismissed, Max Verstappen said, "If Marko goes, I go." During the scandal with Horner's PA, Jos Verstappen already predicted a future for Red Bull that nobody wanted to believe. Jos Verstappen said the following just after the Bahrain Grand Prix in March. "There is tension here while he remains in that position. The team is in danger of being torn apart. It can't go on the way it is. It will explode. He is playing the victim when he's the one causing the problems." Obviously, with the number of haters Verstappen Sr. has, this was considered shit-stirring of a man jealous of his son's success. There were even gossip pages that suggested that Jos Verstappen and the PA were involved with each other and Jos Verstappen was jealous, and nonsense like that. Things seemed to calm down after that until the next bombshell news came out. The aero legend Adrian Newey announced he was leaving Red Bull after 18 years to take a well-needed holiday and regroup. Although it was never publicly announced that he was leaving the team thanks to the power struggle and the Horner situations, there were hints that Newey wasn't happy at the team anymore. Horner has said things in interviews along the lines of Newey walking in and out of the door when he wanted to, and his position was more overseeing things rather than actual designing. Amanda Newey, Adrian's wife, took to Twitter to call it a load of hogwash, but later removed the tweet. For me, it's quite telling that a man who's been happy there for all those years, even when they weren't winning, decides to leave after the most dominant season in F1 ever. Newey did have kind things to say about his time at Red Bull, and he has finished the big RB17 project, but in his farewell message, he never addressed Horner as a friend. He said, "On a personal note, I would also like to thank the shareholders, the late Dieter Mateschitz, Mark Mateschitz, and Shalem Jovidia for their unwavering support during my time at Red Bull, and Christian, who has not only been my business partner, but also a friend of our respective families." A friend of our respected families. I thought it was quite telling then, and I still think it is now. After this news had settled, the war continued between Horner and Marko. This lasted until not so long ago, when it came out that Marko had signed a new deal with Red Bull GmbH that would see him as an advisor for another 3 years. So things should be looking up now, but they're not. After winning 7 races at the start of the season, Max Verstappen and Red Bull are having a bad run. Although it may be a coincidence, ever since Newey announced he is leaving, the RB20 hasn't been the fastest car anymore. McLaren has an overall stronger package, which is suitable for every track it seems. Mercedes has also found pace again after 2.5 seasons of struggles. They won 3 of the last 4 races. I'm sure Ferrari will come knocking on the door too before the season is over, which means that Verstappen can easily qualify or finish races 6th instead of pole or winning. Nobody expected that a while ago. It is a normal occurrence in F1 when regulations had time to settle for the fastest team to find diminishing returns. Somehow I feel that the problems Red Bull have, like not being able to ride the curbs, would be solved easily and practically by Adrian Newey. But he's elsewhere now. Red Bull says they have a strong team led by Pierre Wachier. But so far, the upgrades haven't brought what Max Verstappen hoped for, and that explains his behavior in the car. Max Verstappen has received a ton of criticism over the last while for either racing too hard which caused an incident in Austria, or arguing too much with his engineer GP. Now obviously, when Max Verstappen does something, it gets highlighted tenfold due to him not being English, and he is the current world champion after all. But it is true that Max isn't a happy bunny at the minute. Going from winning 19 races in one season to all of a sudden having to fight off 6 drivers from other teams is a bit of a culture shock. I see his attitude at the last races as someone who's forcing a situation that can't be forced. Upgrades don't magically appear, and sometimes that amazing team of strategists get a strategy wrong. Now I'm a bit like Max in the sense that I can blow off the handle when things don't go the way I wanted them to go. But it's important how you solve these things afterwards. I believe Verstappen, GP and the rest of the team have solved everything, and it's clear that Max needs to change his mindset. Where once he knew he could win every race, he now needs to accept that finishing in front of a competitor is also a result. And if there's no way of finishing higher than Norris, he needs to stay as close as possible. He needs to adopt a Prost style rather than a Senna style of driving. That's what he needs to win the championship. He isn't bothered by the Constructors' Championship, and it seems neither is Red Bull, as they decided to keep Checo Perez in that seat, even with him scoring 28 points in the last 8 races and giving Red Bull huge repair bills. I think that Verstappen can still have a decent season and future seasons at Red Bull, as long as he keeps his wits and keeps maximizing. That is, if no other key staff members leave. News just out. Jonathan Wheatley is leaving Red Bull to become team principal at Audi in 2026. 2025 will be a year of gardening leave, and he will finish the 2024 season with Red Bull. Again, Christian Horner doesn't seem to be bothered by this. Christian Horner said, "It has been a long and successful relationship with Jonathan over 18 years. His contribution to 6 World Constructors titles and 7 World Drivers' Championships, first as team manager and laterly sporting director, will forever be a marker in our team history. Jonathan will remain in his position until the end of the 2024 season as the team seek to defend our World Drivers and World Constructors titles successfully. A period of gardening leave will follow in 2025. Everyone at Oracle Red Bull Racing and Red Bull Technology wish him all the best in his new role and would like to place our thanks to Jonathan. Red Bull Racing have tremendous strength and depth, and this provides opportunity to elevate others within the team. We will announce a new team structure in the coming weeks." These type of messages is something we've grown accustomed to lately. Every bit of bombshell news we've heard lately is dealt with in this light-hearted, unbothered way of talking. To be honest, I don't expect Horner to burst out in tears and yell that they're doomed now, but I do wonder what goes around in his head with all these key members leaving. Wheatley was the man that organised these super quick pit stops, and he was the man that gave Michael Masi the idea to do that last great lap in Abu Dhabi 2021. He will not be easily replaced. The case for Max Verstappen to leave is getting stronger and stronger, especially with Toto Wolff being so keen to sign Max Verstappen. I think Christian Horner will eventually get what he wants. He'll be the owner of the whole Red Bull Racing team and shareholder of Red Bull GmbH, and all his wishes will come true. He'll be a billionaire, and maybe he'll just feel as worthy as Toto Wolff. Unfortunately, there will be nothing left of the Red Bull team as we saw it in 2023. Their best season ever, and the most dominant season for any team ever. Christian Horner built that team up over the last 18 years, just in time for him to let the house of cards crumble. Subscribe. Take care now. Doei doei.